Do a deep, slow inhale. Most people treat silence as the absence of sound, a vacuum to be filled immediately, nervously. But for the architect of influence, silence is the loaded chamber. It is the purest expression of psychological dominance. Welcome back to Psychology's Shadow. Today we dissect the ultimate tool of the calculated mind, the power of strategic silence. This is not about being quiet. It is about deploying stillness as a weapon, forcing your opponent to play a game only you control. Chapter 1. The Calculus of Absence. The untrained mind operates on a constant need for external validation, manifested through incessant chatter. We call this noise. The strategic mind understands that noise is distraction. Silence, however, is focus and fear. When you deploy silence in a high-stakes conversation, you immediately seize control of the temporal dimension. The other person's internal clock accelerates wildly. Every second you remain still feels like 10 to them. They begin to fear the void. This is the calculus of absence. You are forcing the opponent to become the speaker, the qualifier, the justifier. They must reveal their hidden positions, their anxieties, and their true leverage, simply to extinguish the discomfort you created. It operates like the pressure applied by a predator waiting by a watering hole. The target knows the threat is present, but the ambiguity of its location paralyzes them. They sacrifice strategic advantage for immediate psychological relief. Never underestimate the universal human desire to break the tension. If you hold the stillness longer than they can tolerate, they will inevitably fill that space with information that benefits you. They will bid against themselves. This initial step is purely observational. Wait. Do not react. Let the echo of their last sentence hang in the air, cold and demanding. Watch how quickly they unravel their own defense structure. Chapter 2. The vacuum of assumption silence is the ultimate blank slate, and the human mind despises a vacuum. When you refuse to articulate your thoughts, the opponent's brain rapidly attempts to define your stillness. It projects fears, desires, and assumptions onto your unreadable mask. This phenomenon is priceless in negotiation. A negotiator who talks constantly reveals their floor and their ceiling. A silent negotiator, however, becomes an intimidating, unknowable entity. When they ask a tough question, and you meet it not with a defense but with an extended, level gaze, they immediately begin to interpret your silence as contempt, dissatisfaction, or absolute non-acceptance. Did I ask for too much? Is my valuation completely wrong? Did I just insult them? They start arguing with the silent version of you they created in their own mind. Crucially, they begin offering concessions to this spectral threat. They are competing against their own anxiety, not your leverage. This technique is not aggressive. It is surgical. You are not debating. You are waiting for their internal projection to force a strategic error. The less you say, the more control you retain over their narrative. Remember, the silence must be genuine, devoid of nervousness. It must feel like a deliberate, powerful statement of non-commitment. It is the eye of the storm, and the opponent is caught in the turbulence of their own making. Chapter 3. Weaponize listening, the pause. Strategic silence is inseparable from weaponized listening. Most conversations are merely people waiting for their turn to speak. The true predator listens, not to respond, but to catalog vulnerabilities. The most potent deployment of silence is the pause. This occurs immediately after you deliver a critical directive, or after the opponent makes a pivotal admission. Imagine you present an unavoidable truth. You then stop. The pause is the beat of expectation that follows the gunshot. It communicates absolute finality. It tells the room, this is not up for discussion. Your response should be compliance. If the pause is met with continued argument or hesitation, you extend it. You let the air drain out of the room. The burden of proof and the burden of breaking the tension falls entirely back on them. Furthermore, the strategic pause ensures that every word they utter next is magnified. They know you are not constructing your rebuttal. You are processing their every inflection, searching for the weakness in the foundation of their argument. Silence transforms the interaction from a dialogue into an interrogation. You are the immovable object, testing the resolve of a highly movable force. This deliberate stillness is perceived as unwavering confidence, a psychological marker of superior status. Practice the 4-second pause. It feels like an eternity in real time, yet it is devastatingly effective. It is the moment the other party mentally signs the contract of submission. Chapter 4. The art of the unsaid contract influence is not always secured through explicit commands. Often, the most durable power structures rely on unspoken, internalized agreements. Strategic silence facilitates these unsaid contracts. In group settings, when a minor boundary violation occurs, the novice will react with immediate, loud correction. This often lowers their own status. The strategic mind reacts with icy silence and a look of disappointed judgment. This non-verbal, silent response is infinitely more powerful. It transforms the offense from a simple mistake into a profound breach of an internal, shared code. You have leveraged the group's collective discomfort to enforce your standard. The silence communicates, you know what you did. I don't need to waste my words defining the obvious failure. This forces the subject to self-correct and internalize the unspoken rule more deeply than any verbal reprimand ever could. The unsaid contract is sealed by mutual understanding, reinforced by the fear of provoking that silent disapproval again. It establishes an atmosphere where your mere presence and the threat of your stillness shapes behavior. These invisible chains bind far tighter than iron. They are sustained by projection, fear, and the subject's own desperate desire to remain in your good, silent graces. Chapter 5. Psychological fog of war. Ultimately, the mastery of strategic silence allows you to create a psychological fog of war. You must become fundamentally unpredictable. If your opponent can predict when you will pause, the silence loses its sting. True mastery involves deploying stillness randomly, sometimes immediately, sometimes after a long response, sometimes mid-sentence. This keeps your subject in a constant state of low-level anxiety. They are always waiting for the next calculated pause, always second-guessing their own statements, always sacrificing clarity for caution. Their energy is spent navigating your unpredictable silence, leaving them exhausted and unable to execute their own strategy. They are reacting to your stillness rather than pursuing their goals. The calculus of the predator demands that you conserve your energy while forcing the target to expend theirs. Noise costs energy. Silence generates it. Remember this principle. Now, consider one critical subtlety. The most dangerous form of silence isn't the pause after a question, but the silence before a decision. How long should you wait to respond to an ultimatum if your goal is not merely to win, but to render future ultimatums impossible?